very important. In brief, we are presenting the Syria issue in regard to olive oil standard approved by Codex CXS 33. In regard to olive oil of Syria, we used to have a problem with the G or C for steros, the presence of approval from the competent entities of abnormality of several values of these components of sterol, stigmastanol, and combusterol, in regard to the olive oil standard of other countries through CCFO 28. We presented the Syrian issue, but we didn't receive response from the Olive Committee in regard to Syria proposal. While there was an amendment on the same item for B in regard to the steroid components for other countries. We had reservation on the report of the committee during the CAC 47 in Geneva. We opened the discussion in regard to the item C. It was discussed in details in the Syria proposal, and the discussion by Syria was supported by the member states and Arab countries participating in the CAC 47. That was tremendous effort by the Arab Initiative and the G-Force and other organizations. In the region to support Syria issue. The result was to reopen discussion in this topic and to recollect data in regard to olive oil of Syria. As the background, the decision has several components. One of them, in regard to the tree, the TCN, delta SCN value is calculated, is not compliant with the standards of olive oil in Syria. The tree determined delta TCN 0.1 with the same standard of Codex. The standard in separate 0.2 when connected to the tree of delta 7 was 0.1. I present through these slides. These are the results of the analysis of the olive oil of Syria in the main production areas that show the presence of the issue that we tackled. The delta 7 value, stigmastanol, is high. At the same time, it is not compliant with delta C and with in the Qarar 3. In several analysis and researches published in several journals, this fact is revealed of the standards of the Syria olive oil. In regard to we need to present this slide of the analysis results from approved laboratories from international organizations that show the problem in the Qarar 3 of Syria, based on which Syria reserved on increasing or sending the standards for approval in regard to olive oil, and that exceeded the timeline. So it shall be referred for accreditation and adoption, taking into consideration Syria reservation on these item C, that where data will be recollected in regard to put opinion of Syria and to reevaluate the tree. We requested through a meeting to have a sponsoring entity. They followed up this issue to coordinate the collection of sample and to gain the data of Syria olive oil through the meeting mentioned by Ms. Maisa along with the Secretary of Food Codex. It was requested to provide a work paper or plan paper by Syria for the sampling mechanism testing to evaluate the Qarar 3 in accordance with the olive oil of Syria during these 2 consecutive seasons. These standards may be impacted by the production standards in regard to olive oil and the climate changes and the geographic locations. There are several factors that shall be taken into consideration on several seasons and different ripe levels to generalize or to take a general picture of the Syria olive oil. I needed in this slide where the delta SEN value, it is a calculated value, resulted from an equation of analysis of a group of data on the components of fats, amino acids, and triglyceride. It is known that these factions and categories, if fat acids are impacted by geographic implications and genetic climate changes and effects that affect these values and compositions. So this value, which is calculated, I didn't find any justification to be connected to the Al-Qarar tree. It represents several samples, like statistical analysis. When it is issued from international committee, it wasn't taken into consideration the standard of Syria olive oil. No samples were sent to the international committee to be included among the samples taken for analysis to do testing to reach Al-Qarar tree due to the Syria position and status and suspension of the membership of Syria. These factors shall be reviewed. I propose on neighboring countries with similar geographic situations and status conditions to participate in such a study to reevaluate the Qarar trees as a proposal in order not to be forced to redo the evaluation of other countries. What we wish from the Arab countries and the region countries is to review the action plan that will be provided by Syria, how in regard to data collection, evaluation of the tree to be evaluated by the experts, sending this paper through the initiative to the Fat and Oil Committee to discuss the results in the CCFO 29 in Malaysia next year. I wish to have a proposal by the region countries for the testing entity to support Syria technically to implement this testing, as we suffer from lack of preparations and equipment, especially in the approved laboratory in Syria during the crisis. The FAO was communicated with, and now it is doing a research how to implement this study. Currently, we are preparing the action plan to be presented on the countries in the region and to be presented to the Oil and Fat Committee to start to achieve this process of data collection and to evaluate of Syria olive oil.